Caroline County Transportation Committee meeting. Today's date is September the 3rd, 2025. Welcome everybody, and like to has everybody have everybody had an opportunity to look at the previous meeting minutes? Are there any updates, changes, corrections, or anything need to be looked at? Being none, I would entertain a motion.
Move we approve the minutes as mailed.
Second. Okay, thank you. Approved, moved by Mr. Street and second by Mr. Bill, that minutes be approved as they are. All those in favor, please state by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes approved. Thank you. Let's move to updates. Mr. Hughes, any updates for us with the transportation alternative? Transportation.
Yes. So, as you recall, last time we met, we talked about potential TAP application for pedestrian accommodations on Rogers Park Boulevard from the intersection of Route 1 and Rogers Park going west or north, east or north to the intersection of Welcome Way Drive. And the estimate for that project came in at $11 million. And the committee felt like that was just out of kilter for what the county put forward. So the committee asked me to reach out to VDOT and look at an alternative scope or revised scope. And so we did that, got together with VDOT staff, met on site, came up with this revised project scope here, which is at the intersection of Welcome Way and 207. And essentially what you see on the screen, on the bottom portion of the screen is the intersection of Welcome Way and 207, where the Flying J truck stop entrance is. And so at that entrance, you'd see pedestrian accommodations across the intersection with some features there, pedestrian signals. Then you'd have a crosswalk extending north across 207 with a pedestrian refuge there in the median, and then extending across the northbound lanes, then a sidewalk extending this westward southbound 207. And then this sketch, which we just got this afternoon, so it doesn't quite extend the sidewalk to Almond Drive. Almond Drive is the intersecting street next to the hotel there, between the two hotels. And so when we met on site, we discussed having that sidewalk extend to Almond. And so this was the revised scope they came back with. They came back with an estimate, which is $5.1 million to complete this project as is shown. And if you have any questions, one of the things I'll talk about a little bit in terms of background, and we had this discussion last time, is we have some potential development that may occur in this area for the rezoning application, and we would hope that the applicant, that application would hopefully, extend pedestrian accommodations along Almond to the north, and then to the west down to Route 1. Hopefully north on Route 1 of the property that they control will be a part of that zoning application. That application has not been filed yet, so they haven't had formal conversations with them about that. But we anticipate seeing an application in the near future. And so that would essentially, complete that side of the pedestrian accommodations if the county took this project. This is the TAP program, as you know, is a 80-20 match program. And so at that price tag of 5.1, the county's still looking at $1,031,700,000 match, which is a pretty hefty price tag to pay for this project.
Say that again. Because the match is capped. Once you get over 2 point whatever, then the rest of it's on the county.
So the,
I mean, the
Program is
award,
capped.
the award is capped.
at 2.2 million. You,
2.5, right, Bob?
Yeah, I can do that.
It's 2.5.
so it's capped at 2.5.
to the county. It's 3.1, we went through this 2 months ago, now I'm trying to rethink it. Total award, the total project is 3.125. I think the 20% of that is,
620.
I think it's in the minutes.
yeah,
Twenty.
and
Thinking
then
about
the federal part is 2.5. So it's 2.5 plus the 6 gets you to 3.125. Anything beyond that is unmatched local fund. So 3.125, if you're above that, whatever the difference is, you're above it, is 100% local.
So we're looking at more than almost 2 million.
Where did the,
Plus your match.
how much is the
There's
project?
5.1, so you got 2 million gap.
Mm.
Then you got your 600,000 to match the 2.5.
So you have the,
Yeah, so 2.6 would be the
the one
low.
with the other access sheet.
There's
There are a lot of numbers going around. Did I hear that the project is 5.1 million? And it looked like it was some striping and some sidewalk,
crosswalk.
crosswalk.
Yeah,
Striping for a crosswalk and some sidewalk, maybe 2,000 feet.
What's the roadway work? It's $700,000. Raw pavement.
So there's a, probably in the median, there's a drop inlet drainage structure in the median.
It just seemed like a lot of money for
Short stretch of time.
short stretch of sidewalk, and some striping.
There are, the other part is there are some signals included. So.
Yeah.
What does traffic cover in lieu of MOT?
I think the traffic part, I imagine it's related to the signal that he's talking about.
Okay.
Pedestrian accommodations for the signal.
Yeah, I mean, 600,000, I would assume they're replacing the signal.
Let's use a move forward for a second. You mentioned hopefully that developers would buy into contributing to the future sidewalks.
That's,
Wow.
sorry,
No, what were you gonna say?
but that's the next phase.
That's the next phase, right? But I'm saying, yes, well, I said I'm moving ahead a little bit. But why would it be hopefully as opposed to not something that would be mandated for infrastructure upgrades?
Well, it's part of a rezoning case, so we would, as you know, proffers are voluntary.
Sure.
So we hope that they would voluntarily proffer some contribution or, either cash or in kind to do the physical improvement. The property that they are wanting to rezone is included in the application. So
Are there any unmet proffers from Flying J, or have they been released from all proffers?
It looks like you have almost $1 million. What's CEI? What is
Construction, engineering, and inspection. It's what the engineers and inspectors get out of while the project's being constructed.
Wow. And it looks as though you almost have 900, 920, 930, 930,000 in contingency, phase risk contingency, construction contract contingency.
I noticed on the sketch, there was a note about the right of way and the label that said temporary construction easement to account for risk in case the GIS isn't correct, like where the right of way line is.
No
You know,
survey, but any of
Yeah, I just wonder if we could provide maybe some plats or pull some road plans that show the right of way is dedicated, kind of scrub the estimate to get rid of some of the risk. Just by doing a little more research instead of just assuming the worst and pricing it in. Also, I mean, this is the first time I'm seeing it.
Same.
I see we got 800, we got 35% for risk contingency. It seems like we're pretty risk averse. I just wonder if we couldn't scrub the estimates on, get a real number.
Yeah, I mean, this is a high level planning estimate, what you get at this point. Right,
It's gonna be
to Dave's
high.
point, this is the first I'm seeing it.
Yeah, we got this in.
How do we get from phase total of 3.696 down to 5.158?
Well, the phase total is just construction. So there must be 1.5 million in right of way and design. I would assume that's another tab there, like the right of way L&D estimate or something. Or maybe scroll up to the other phases.
So I have a quick
So
question.
there's the right of way and utility phase. Go down 2 rows on Lisa. So they got $560,000 in right of way and utilities and $900,000 in design.
900,000 for design?
So it says-
It's a sidewalk and some striping.
Yeah, there's a little more to it than that. You talk about drainage and some of the stuff going on with that. There could be, that could get a little bit, I'm not defending the 900,000, but I'm saying it's not as easy as just building a sidewalk, right? Like, I could build that, no problem. But you talk about moving a drainage structure, adding impervious area, all these things, that kind of adds up.
Adding impervious area, does that mean we have to have stormwater management for?
Yeah, we would have to look at stormwater quality and quantity comply. It's likely that we might be able to buy credits for such a small project, but
Right.
still have to go through the process.
All stuff you gotta look at through that.
Oh, but then again, it looks like the sidewalks over top of asphalt, so the impervious surface.
The only impervious surface would be the median area.
Yeah.
Is there new sidewalk along the grass islands or is sidewalk already there?
There's no sound.
Okay,
No, but.
so the new
isn't it
impervious
paved?
area,
Can you go through the step?
I think there's like the grass median, like the little white
Islands,
islands.
yeah.
So it looks like they are putting. Right.
Right, that's true, the new impervious area.
What does the white represent between the medians and the entrances on the north side?
Crosswalk?
That's just the path.
Okay,
Yeah, that's just a
it's just a
simple.
pathway.
But is there any work that occurs across those entrances or
I assume it's gotta be level.
are they just resurfacing it maybe?
Would there be concrete aprons with the sidewalk behind them, or are we going to leave?
That's probably what.
Maybe that's what it is, new concrete aprons.
If
And do we have to
playing
do
the
that?
price is right, and I guessed it, I would say, maybe 900,000. It's
To
just
be
an
fair, I would
incredible
probably
amount
say
of
like
money.
5, yeah.
It is. Let's see.
David, what would you guess?
What am I guessing then?
Not knowing the answer.
I thought we would have been under 3.1.
Yeah.
Yeah,
These estimates
Yeah.
are going through the roof.
Yeah, this is not.
Unfortunately, a lot of times they come back to be accurate. But
Well, I guess it's like 2 years out or something. What's the future? When would this actually go to construction if it were funded?
Well, you.
Like a long way.
It's 28 and 29 or 27, 28.
Okay, so they've got
But
they
it's
built
probably,
inflation
built
into these
inflation.
numbers too.
Well, I was gonna ask a question. On the estimate, it said uninflated estimate.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. So that kind of gave me a little pause. I was concerned about that.
And it'll be 4 years from today for it to actually go to bid. Or longer.
It's, I think the project has to be done.
These estimates too, there's a bit of a snowball effect that occurs when you start adding in percentages for contingencies. I think if we could, maybe, if you just got this, and we're all just looking at it for the first time, sharpen the pencil. Like that note, there's this, it's in orange right there in the median above Bowling Green. It's a temporary construction easement, accounting for risk, assuming GIS incorrect. Well, it's not hard to pull a road plan and see if that right of way is somewhat accurate based on the 4 lane of 207. So I feel like that's something we could get rid of and adjust the estimate. Now, are we gonna lose $2 million or $1 million off the estimate? I don't know, but I think it's worth having a conversation with whoever developed it. So like, look, what are the unknowns and what can we work towards to resolve some of those questions and try to get a tighter estimate?
Who sent it to you today?
Rachel?
Would it be good for this committee to come up with a ceiling figure that we're comfortable with as a total project cost? Because the deadline for the application is before we meet again, I'm sure, right? End of this month. So if we come up with, a figure of, hey, if we would recommend the Board of Supervisors consider approving the TAP application with a ceiling figure not to exceed $3.5 million or something along those lines. That's about all we can do this evening, I think.
I just don't know what our reference point would be. Like, we don't have the rest of the budget,
Just what
I
seems
kinda-
reasonable for
Yeah,
the, to ask the board to consider that, when we talked about this gap, so there's a 2.5 million cap of state funds for TAP
Federal.
project. Okay. I just threw that number out as an idea. To get the conversation.
do we know if the boards even, are they pretty locked in on the $600,000 match? Do we think they're gonna go with it? If we could get this to 3.1, would they move forward with the application, knowing they had to come up 600 grand?
Phil, it's hard to say. I mean,
Have we had the conversation? Has anybody said?
yeah, we had the conversation, I think, a couple months ago. It's been some time. We talked about first, make the application.
If you capped it at, what do you say, 2.5?
They're the max you can get from TAP is 2.5. I was thinking 3 million, 3.1.
At 3 million, how much would Caroline County have to put?
20%.
Yeah, 20%, so it'd be 600.
And then,
you would only get 2.4 from the Fed,
Mhm.
but 2.5 is the max you get from the Fed. So if we said, hey, let's just max out what the Fed would award, then it would be, a little over 6.
And what's the cell? Do we have actual pedestrian paths or crossings, or we just think this is a cool idea, or is there a
No,
real
no,
cell here?
So this was a part of our smart scale application, one of our smart scale applications from the last round.
Okay,
And that application was the entire segment from Route 1 up to this point.
okay,
And so that didn't get awarded. So TAP cycle rolls around and, it's not for pedestrian. We figured, hey, if we couldn't get anything out of TAP, out of smart scale, maybe we get some out of TAP. Now, I will say the smart scale project didn't score it scored well last go around, and it meets the criterion that that's kind of laid out for this next round of smart scale we'll talk about coming up. So one of the things we have to discuss is, do we want to go back with that as another application in round 7?
But that was the full project, with
That was the-
sidewalks on both sides of
Yeah.
207 and the intersection improvements.
It's,
And what, was the board, or was there a local, contribution leveraging? Okay, it's 100, and what's good about Smart Scale, it's 100% funding. You get benefits with leverage funding. So we really don't have any reason to ask the board to, you know, dip into the local, their, general fund revenue as far as desire lines or people getting struck. We don't have pedestrian strikes. We were just trying to come up with something that fit more of the budget.
that would fit in, when we get huge expense in the county to
Mhm.
get a portion of it done, which this portion we got done when the Smart Scale application rolled around next time. This segment is taken out of it, cost for the Smart Scale project goes down, and then the funding, the scoring probably goes up because it costs less. So the scope of that project is reduced, that's reducing the cost of that, which of course increases the scoring.
Other than the monetary difference, does the county get any benefit from taking over this portion rather than keeping it as part of the Smart Scale submission? In fact, that a locality is stepping up and addressing part of the problem?
Just like you said, the reduction in
In the
the cost of the
project
Smart
cost,
Scale,
yeah.
And Leon, is this truly part of the Smart Scale project? I mean, or was there any curb and gutter? Was it going to be widening here?
There was no wide.
Okay, this was truly, because the widening was down toward Route 1 to do something down there.
Yeah, there was a turn lane.
Okay,
added, a right turn lane added on 207 northbound right turn.
Leon, was there any discussion with VDOT staff about the project as we asked them to review it, meeting the logical termini threshold?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, Rachel, last week when I checked in with her, she said that L&D had some question about the logical termini. So
It's still unknown.
it was unknown. She said they had questions about it. They were concerned about a lot of logical termini. But, and that's why I was a little surprised to see that there's not a piece going to Army.
Yeah, they didn't take it there.
it's not
Yeah.
short.
Because when we were in the field, we talked about the fact that if it got to Almond and with this rezoning case coming along, that applicant agreed to do the portion on, sidewalk on their property, then you have the complete segment from the intersection to them. But I mean, I will say, I mean, that, I'm a little torn because there are other transportation needs and,
Yeah.
We could use
Goes
probably
a long way.
a couple $1 million. Road.
Where's
Yeah.
the drainage structure that you were talking about? Is it shown on there?
It's in the
It's
median.
in the
It's in
median.
the median.
It's like a depressed median of 207
It's
tons.
like a big vault with a paved ditch going into it.
Yeah,
It's a big hole.
Yeah,
yeah, there's a ditch. You can almost see it there. It's kind of a paved ditch.
Mhm.
gotcha.
To me, the hard part about the project is getting across 207. I feel like the easier part is the sidewalk on the north side. So if we go back to VDOT and ask them to scrub the estimate, sharpen their pencil and give us their best guess on what it's gonna cost, and it doesn't get us near the 3.1 number. I wonder if it would still meet the logical termini to get rid of the sidewalk on the north side, just get across 207. And we figure that part out another day. I mean, there is a paved shoulder there that is functional, even though it's maybe not desirable.
The question's gonna be, will they allow us to do, well, I think that's where you're going with this logical determine that question is, will they allow you to put this crosswalk over 207 there without having somewhere for it to be, to go?
Right, well, I mean, even if you just ended it at the Exxon and the Welcome Way,
Yeah,
you got the post office right there, which, may be important for transient phone, truck stop use to, mail or receive a package. You're still getting them across the street. I feel like you can still make an argument for logical termini.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's necessarily accepted, but you could argue.
I mean, without any hopes or dreams, I feel like the stuff on the north side, that without putting eyes on this myself, looks very easy to do for a very small amount of money. And you know, I'm hearing all this contingency and all this stuff from this estimate. And to David's point earlier, like we have a lot of estimates for really good reasons. There's a lot of contingency for, you know, a lot of assumed risk and everything else. But looking at what I'm seeing, it looks low risk to me. And this might be something we could work out like through a maintenance agreement or some kind of agreement to. I could build that for way cheaper, right? And rather
VDOT
than,
could build it.
huh?
VDOT could build it.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. I say this without, you know, putting eyes on it, but I feel like that part would be easy. That's something I can do with my maintenance contracts, no problem. Not again, not knowing all the details. The hard part, to David's point, it's all the stuff at the intersection. It's getting people across safely with protected phase and all the things that go into that. But we have on-call contracts that do things like that all the time. So maybe there's a world where we can, same thing, we go through the agreement process, receive those funds, and maybe we could get a cheaper cost from an on-call contract to do that.
The most expensive element of this project is that which I don't see, which is signalization. That then you'd have to have some type of signalization shield both sides of the road. Somebody push a button and
Yeah,
it
that's what we're
flashes.
talking about.
Otherwise, without that, and you just have a crosswalk there, and there's no signalization to traffic, then it's probably a bigger invitation to.
Well, that's part of their estimate.
Yeah, all that's in there.
It is in there.
Yeah, that's the 600,000 for the modification of the traffic.
That's the traffic engineering section of that. That's
Mhm.
just the construction part of it. That's the part that my state forces can't go to. Right?
Yeah, that's fair. I put, you can signalize two intersections at, Hospital Center Boulevard and Courthouse Road and Weiss Road. And I needed to find out what would pay, but it went in close to that.
It almost looks like the red box on the south side of Walker Way. It looks like there might be some right of way acquisition there as
Yeah.
well. To install some signal improvements.
Get into right away acquisition.
Yeah. I feel pretty good about the right of way on the north side.
Mhm.
We went through that exercise as part of the smart scale application. That it's good right of way until we get to out to the intersection. Looks like they're
Mhm.
adding some right of way at the south side. So
Yeah, it looks like
There's utilities and temporary construction.
you've got the purple existing GIS right of way, and then there's a box here.
Yeah.
Proposed right.
and that's all for signalization. There was a fair amount of conversation in the field about trying to install signal improvements there because of the tight radius of that turn coming out of the Flying J.
So when that road was built for Flying J, they weren't forced to connect to existing right of way?
Well, they connected to this around. You see the pro that turn
Well,
comes.
Who owns the roadway, I guess? Is that private?
It's private.
Okay.
What has to be done tonight? What's the question?
Well, I think the question tonight was, from my perspective, the committee feel like wanted to make a recommendation to the board to proceed or not to proceed. You know, I think David's comments are well received, and maybe we can go back and asked me to scroll. My only caution there, David, is, you know, given the length of time it has taken to get this estimate, which I literally got this at 4:39 today. Is, you know, when we have time, you know, the board meeting is next week. I gotta have a resolution from the board. We're gonna, you know, if they're gonna do it,
Well, maybe they say no. Maybe they say no, that is what it is.
And what's the alternative? If we say, okay, we'll keep this part as part of the next smart scale submission, does that mean we have no TAP submission, or do you have another project ready for us to look at?
no, we don't have.
That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, because I don't feel bad about not having a tap out.
Okay.
There's a match involved, so I gotta pay money.
Right.
I don't feel bad about saving money.
Okay,
You're doing a smart scale application, that's probably the difference.
Yeah.
This is, not shameful, serious, but pretty substantial in this case. Match.
Yeah, and I'm just considering Leon getting up in front of the board and even asking for a small amount of money. You gotta say, what's the sell? If you've had pedestrian strikes, if you had, you know, and actually, if you think about the folks that are, you know, at the Flying J, they're physically able-bodied and so forth. They're able to scoot across and hang out in the median. They can see traffic coming, good sight distance. I just don't see the sell. I think something as important as asking Carolina Board of Supervisors for any local funds is gotta be, this is important because, and fill in the blank with a lot of facts.
Ms. Golden has a good point, and it also reflects on the credibility of the committee. Take something to the board for the request.
When we went with the Safe Streets and Roads for All, you know, we had a real good sell with you know, fatalities and serious crashes, and we were right because it was the top safety project in smart scale in the state, which I didn't realize at the time. That we had articles about, you know, fatalities and horse trailers and horses having to be put down and being struck, and so I just don't see the sell for this necessary.
I think the one reason we don't have fatalities here is it's probably because of the signal. Because, you know, traffic has to slow down and, you know, even stop, so you don't have high speeds. If that signal and working way wasn't there, we might. There's a significant amount of pedestrian traffic. So, and like I said, this was tap cycle, and we didn't get funding for smart scale, so it seemed like a logical candidate. You know, but I mean, the cost, and everything has a cost benefit, and that's why I was so adamant to Rachel to try to get something tonight, because I wanted to get the committee's thoughts on asking for that money when there are other projects, you know, just down the road that are going to probably need some money in the future as well.
Yeah, VDOT can do a lot with $600,000.
The, Jimmy asked about the Flying J properties, but I see the part that Becky pointed out is on Carmel Church Station. Do they have any properties to donate that piece or any portion of that piece with any of their rezoning?
It remains private. As a matter of fact, that would private street is an issue as we deal with the data center. It's going to go and start construction because of the trucks that park on there. That will stretch and
An agreement with Flying J for access.
So Carmel Church Station is no, it's on down. This is on flag.
It's offset
Flag.
of the lot.
and they own that. And then there's a data center project that is going to use that road for access. So they are in conversation right now with the Flying J about their staging areas.
Question for VDOT then is, it's an existing private road entrance to, I guess that's Ontario. And when another user wants to put more traffic on that road, does that trigger a land use, permit from VDOT?
And we
For the
would,
data
we would
center?
review the entrance with their development plan.
It would. Therefore, is it possible that, VDOT or Caroline County could, in any way have the data center company improve this area?
So that was part of the zoning proper amendment process,
Mhm.
and their TIA, didn't show any improvements were necessary.
I'm sorry, what?
Their TIA, traffic impact analysis,
Yeah.
that they did for the data center, showed that they didn't require any improvements there.
So they're gonna fly everything in and not gonna use the right?
Well, when you say, I mean, the TIA is based on, the development traffic, not the construction traffic. So when that data center is developed, traffic impact is minimal. And we did have a conversation about trying to make some improvements out there.
But they are gonna be making a lot of money. Understand the number of trips per employees will have, what, maybe 50 to 100 employees.
And
Something like that.
there's not very many trips on it.
But then again, they might need some, fire equipment in there. Some rescue equipment in there, the ability to efficiently, move that equipment through this little intersection, this throat, might positively or negatively impact their insurance. Possibly.
Well, the road is not deficient. I mean, there's plenty of lane. I mean, you think about it, there's enough lane width there to park tractor trailers on the shoulder, on the side, and then have sufficient space for tractor trailers to pass.
Okay, I rest.
I rest my
There's-
case.
Yes, there's not,
And trust me, Alex, we
it's a
didn't go
dry
through,
path.
we didn't go through the entire exercise and not try to figure out.
I was just wondering what the pedestrian crossing had to do with, fire and EMS. Nice
Short
try,
of-
David. Good
Yeah.
job.
Short of sticking a gun in their back. We tried, believe me.
I know you did, I'm sure you did.
So, and like David said, we don't have to file an application. And I'm fine with it.
No, you have nothing to apologize for. You did what you should have done, and we're doing what we should do and hashing it out.
Could be a worthwhile smart scale application.
Yeah, I mean, when we have a conversation about smart scale, I mean, maybe this comes back because Kyle's gonna talk about a little bit later. I mean, that project meets the criterion that VDOT has laid out for round 7 of smart scale. So, and we don't spend any of our money. Say how you make money, use other people.
And again, you also have something called political capital. Go to the board asking for money.
Yeah.
The first time, but then you go the second, third time. Your again, credibility is priceless.
Yeah, and like I said, that let's say that's $600,000. I mean, one of the things I have talked to Kyle about since I've been here, and I've got him here again on the spot, is, I don't view this corridor in this segment by itself. Okay, I view this corridor from Route 1 all the way to Enterprise Drive, which is up by Belmont. So, from my perspective, I drive this corridor every day. It's not very attractive.
I will tell you that a board member asked me to put some more signs up.
Oh my God. It is not very attractive. Look at our median, we don't have any vegetation in the median of this end. There are any number of things that would help improve the aesthetic of this corridor. This is a gateway to our community. People from up and down east, northeast use this interchange to go north with lots of people. And when they come off, it just looks terrible. There's no other way to say it. There are 20 on one side. There are 23 signs from the interchange to Carmel Church.
To
to Carmel Church down to where the sheets is going,
Okay,
23 something. That's just on one side of it. It's there's so many instructions out there. It's crazy. It's crazy. And it just looks terrible. So
They still don't obey the signs.
yeah. So what I like, you know, my hope is that at some point you look at some aesthetic enhancements in this corridor as well.
therefore, I guess we need a motion to dispose of the issue on the table.
I think so.
Make a motion that we scrub this project for now and look at it again for the smart scale opportunity that comes up next.
I'll second the motion.
All right, it's been motioned by Mr. Long and second by Ms. Gordon that we scrap this project for now, look at it and revisit it another time.
And the next future opportunity.
The next future, we
Opportunity.
scrap this opportunity, I mean, scrap this
Now,
project
for now, and
and look at it
yeah,
at the
it
next
might be a
opportunity.
smart scale or our friends at VDOT might find another financing.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Ayes have it, thank you. Good suggestion. All right, new business.
Smart scale round 7. So believe it or not, we are fast approaching the pre-application window. It'll be in March of 2026. And just as a recap, I provided you all information on the last round. You guys did, I gave you this document here, which is the for district scorecard. And it has in it our projects. So you'll see in the first page, the projects are ranked. And you can see the 2 of our projects that were funded are ranked 1 and 2. And then if you come down, look what number 5 is. Number 5 is Route 207, sidewalk improvements from Route 1 to Welcome Way Drive. And so, we were just saying, you know, this is probably a good application to go back. Now, like Cal, speak more in depth on the round 7 stuff, but, you know, that project in the last round, you know, scored fairly well. So, it's something that we can certainly consider. And I've included in this package as well, sketches for the projects, and if you see, in here you have a sketch. It's titled at the top is for Route 207 sidewalk improvement, Route 1 and Welcome Way. You know, it's 45.5, ranked 48 in this state, and ranked number 5 in the district. So I think that's a pretty good project. And, you know, like I said a minute ago, kind of the thought process was that the TAP application came in and at a reasonable cost, and we got a portion of this project funded through TAP. And the cost of this project would go down, hopefully that score would go up, and we increase the likelihood that it might be funded in round 7. So where we are right now is we look at going back, maybe scrubbing this, and look for some enhancements to maybe improve this some, and hopefully it will score as well, or if not better, in the next round of smart scale and get funded.
And where does the leverage funding come in this scorecard? In other words, you let us know before that we asked for the whole
Yes,
piece, and I just wondered of these measures, which one, if we put in local funding, does that affect?
well, I think it,
Or does it? Maybe it doesn't.
no, I think it does in round 7. I mean, I think OIP, when you look at this document here, the presentation that they did in July, you know, they made it pretty clear that the next round, there would be probably some direct correlation between leverage funding and projects that receive award to the next round. They
Mhm.
made it pretty clear that there are a fair number of projects throughout the Commonwealth that came this time without leverage funding, and the secretary made it clear in his statements at the public comment period that jurisdictions were gonna have to step up to the plate and put some funding.
Mhm.
Now, those were his statements. That means we still don't come back into a project on leverage funding. But leverage funding always helps.
And it may not be the score, maybe you just get a score and then there's a cost benefit
Becky,
off to the side.
if you look at, are you looking at the project we're talking about? on
Mhm,
here?
mhm.
So the 3 lines from the bottom, it says project benefit and it
Yeah.
says 7.
Okay,
Everything is equalized to $10 million. So this project was $12 million. So they divided 1.2689428 into 7 and came up with 5.5.
okay, great,
And
I
so the
see.
project score, based on a $10 million equalization to all projects, is 5.5.
So if you
So-
have leverage funding, it will reduce the ask for the
Right,
cost. Okay,
Right.
so that, in our case, the cost equaled the ask.
right.
And so the leverage funding would reduce the ask.
Right, so if we'd have, on this project in the last round, if we'd have put $2.7 million on it, we'd have a smart scale score of 7 instead of 5.5.
Great, that's what I was asking.
Yeah.
That's great. That's helpful. Thank you.
And Becky, the other part of the cost next go around is, by that time, we should have at least a commitment, at minimum, a commitment of right-of-way dedication. That's not there today.
And again, can we use the value of that right away dedication as a
Yeah.
contribution?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, it just reduces the cost.
I will say that for VDOT to consider that, the right of way needs to be in hand.
Oh, yeah,
If it's just a proffer
Yeah,
on a
no.
piece of paper, they're still gonna put it in the estimate.
Gotta
You
be
gotta
ready.
have it tangibly dedicated at the time of application.
Cool.
no, you know that,
Otherwise, it's a project risk that the county doesn't
Yeah.
make them
Yeah.
dedicate.
The deed
Correct.
in the
Which we
court.
had happen.
Oh,
Your
yeah.
county says, oh, I've got
Sure.
this. Not that Caroline would ever do that. Oh, we're gonna get this, and then that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So deed in the courthouse.
yeah, so that's one of the things
Need
we
to
would
plan.
ask for very shortly after, case, if it gets approved, we ask if that plat gets submitted, at minimum for the right, and nothing else. Do us right. Those are lessons learned, trust me.
Great. This is very helpful. I'm glad it scored so well.
So I just wanted to recap and show you guys, what we had last time we were going forward. We were awarded, over $15 million worth of transportation projects here in Carolina, between two projects at Page Road
Mhm.
and at Lake Caroline. So,
That's great.
and I can tell you that the folks in Lake Caroline cannot wait. I can't wait for that project to be done because the significant accidents there probably weeks.
Right.
I've seen survey crews out there and marking utilities.
Just have one last Wednesday,
They've already kind of started hustling it up. Must be nice.
6-year plan, right?
But anyway, speaking of what is to come, so if you look at this document that I provided, this was the presentation that OPE gave back in July. And it talked about the all things scale, how they scored everything, with the nuts and bolts. More than you ever want to know about the process. But then on page 23, it starts to talk about round 7. And I think what to look forward to. So, how they, on page 23, it starts off, we want to focus on the V-Trans priority 1 and 2 need location. We want to identify the right solutions to address the needs with value engineering. We want to improve cost effectiveness, and like they just said, reduce risk and contingency. And so, those are very important goals that they have identified. And we have at least one project at this point, I think that kind of falls in line with those goals.
We have a priority 1 or 2 needed on 207 there.
We do, and Kyle, I'm gonna let him talk about it in just a second. Kyle, you guys kind of participated in round 7, identified this project as a priority to me. So that's probably a good segue, Kyle, to talk about your email. Hold on, pull it up.
Yeah, so the summary of the email is we last round, VDOT as a whole, and I'm gonna talk about the Fredericksburg district specifically, which is not just my residency, that's Northern Ag Residency Saluda as well. It's 14 counties within the Fredericksburg district, all the way down to Matthews, Gloucester, Lancaster, some of those other counties that David and Lee manage. You know, we spent a lot of time, the VDOT staff, these are the people that are designing the existing projects, the ones that are already funded, right? Like that is a priority for us for all the obvious reasons, right? We spent a lot of time on smart scale applications, working through estimates, working through sketches, or a little more detailed estimates than what you saw here today. You know, a substantial amount of time. In round 6, there were 51 pre-applications that we worked through, 44 final applications. And of those 44, 4 of them got funded through Smart Scale. So you can imagine the VDOT staff, they spent a lot of time on a lot of things that didn't go. Now, some of that work might not, not necessarily work for naught. Like there may be some things that could still come of it, but they did spin a lot of wheels on a lot of things that never came to fruition. So we're looking this year to kind of pull back some of the assistance that VDOT is giving on specific projects. So in summary, what we're looking at here, we're going to be able to help with anything that is an ongoing study, right? Now, an ongoing study in Caroline County, we have the Lady Smith I-95 STAR study at Lady Smith Road and 95. That is ongoing. That is something that we can assist. So I think as these conversations continue, I would imagine that that is an obvious one for a smart scale application. It will be pricey. It's definitely going to be up there cost wise. We haven't got to public input and everything else, but we're gearing up for that. I think it's this winter timeframe. But there's still an opportunity to assist with some other previous stuff. So we did all this work for this Route 1 study that we got 2 projects on Caroline County, which is just like phenomenal,
Yeah.
right? It really is. It's my favorite success story for sure, because we went from not having an application to now having a study and 2 funded projects for Carolina Cage Road, which, shameless plug, both of those projects have websites on the VDOT website. So if you have anybody that's interested, we typically don't do that until like public hearing, but just understanding the 1, excitement, but 2, I think the public interest in Lake Caroline especially. They do have county websites, so if you have any questions, there's not a lot of information there. There's not a lot to say at this point. We just know essentially what the scope of it is at this point. But that is out there for the public. But VDOT is going to be able to assist with some other stuff. We're looking at the VTrans needs, priority 1 and 2 locations. We have from the previous studies a list of priority 1 and 2 needs that are outside of the ongoing study. So the table that you see there, that's the Route 207 and Route 1 and the 207 and Carmel Church Loop. So that's from that pipeline study. That's kind of the conversation that I think, Leon, I'm assuming where you want to go with that today is this committee is probably going to need to make some decisions on, do you want to take stuff from that previous study and request that VDOT assist in that, which my recommendation from Fred Rez would be take that project that you were talking about and by September 12th, which is right around the corner, request from the district that they assist with that, because they can help, a lot's changed since that study was done. They're gonna have to go relook at a lot of those numbers, not just the estimates, but, traffic and everything else. So, I think that's the decision that you all need to make by September 12th, because Leon's gonna have to request assistance from the Fredericksburg district on that project. Those are kind of the parameters in which we're working. And this is not just Caroline County, all 14 counties. David, you had to send out, I assume, a very similar email to what I've got here to your 5 localities, right?
Except there are only like 4 priority 1 and 2 locations in the northern neck outside of King Village. So, yeah, not much happening.
Which I'm sure they weren't very happy. Get used to it.
So can we take the staff that he's not gonna be using and bring him with us?
Yes. So, look, I think that's the call that you all are going to have today is, what are you all going to be requesting for additional assistance from previous priority 1 and 2 locations, which you got the list there in front of you. I think it would be silly not to at least request that assistance by the 12th. We got to get everything in, what's the date? March 1st is pre-application portal opens. That's kind of the upcoming deadlines.
I think the backside of that Kyle maybe didn't say or didn't want to say is we had several localities, not Caroline, but it's something to be aware of and not to do. Where we prepared extensive applications, got to the 11th hour and asked the board for a resolution of support, and they didn't support it.
Oh my goodness.
So it never even went to application. And we spent tens of thousands of dollars in several localities to put a bad taste in. So we're really looking hard to make sure that you have board support on the front end when we're doing these applications and preparing this stuff. So we want to go to them early and often and make sure they're informed, they understand what the right of way needs are, because a lot of times if, buying the front of some property that, they don't want you to buy, that
You
can
want to
affect,
know that.
that can affect the decision. We want to spend our efforts somewhere else.
Yeah.
So I think keeping them informed of what we're going to ask of them and what we're going after is very important.
And I would say that is the reason that is one of the reasons that this committee exists, quite frankly, was you don't get anything done if you don't have board support. Sometimes it takes a committee like this to provide some insight and some background, sometimes place some opinion on the board if they have great thoughts. Okay. So the other thing I would say about this list is SAMPO, or not SAMPO, George Washington Regional Commission is also a part of their work program. It's offering assistance as well. And so one of the projects that we've talked with them about is the Route 207 and Palmer Church Loop project, which, is one we'll probably have to dig down, develop. If we have a broad concept of what it might look like right now, but I think we need to, probably sit down with the staff and, narrow it. I will tell you, talk about a need for pedestrian accommodations. That is one place there is a need. I see young people on scooters, on bicycles, and I cringe. And I watched a young kid one day go from the Loop to Belmont on a scooter. And it just, why in the world that person didn't go up behind the RVs, take the road that goes behind there, I never know. let's say common sense is not common. And there's just a need there. We have a lot of projects, development projects that are, targeting that area, and so there's going to be probably a significant increase in traffic there. So it's an area we need to start thinking. One thing I would say that I would hope Caroline not do is not wait much longer to start making some serious investment in the transportation infrastructure in these high development areas, because if we wait much longer, then we're behind the eight ball and trying to play catch up. I can tell you, coming from a jurisdiction that was trying to play catch up, it's like pushing a ball uphill. So we don't want to get in that situation. So we have an opportunity to be ahead of the curve, so to speak. And, that comes with a cost. Nothing is free. But I always say people don't complain about development until the traffic gets bad. They have to sit a couple extra ticks at the light, and the reason that happens is because jurisdictions are not proactive and don't, the old adage is you pay me now, you can pay me later. And when you pay later, you're gonna pay a lot more. So, I think it's incumbent upon this committee to help champion that cause and to do what I can do to help, us not get behind the eight ball from a transportation perspective. So I think with the help of our partners at George Washington Museum, partners at VDOT, I think we're in a pretty good position to start doing some things. We're going to see and hear in the near future some things that we're going to do internally as a staff to help put us in a position to deal with some things and hopefully move to administering some projects on our own. Because if the county can administer projects, we can get there a lot faster than being on the VDOT, timetable. And so, I'm not talking about building parkways, but there are other smaller projects that can be done with the county administering those projects, and provide a lot of benefit to the citizens. And oftentimes, from a transportation perspective, we always think about the big projects, but we forget about the little projects that provide the support those bigger projects. If you don't build that basic infrastructure, you don't have any support. When you start to look at the larger projects and you rule out, intersections. Well, if you start to improve those intersections early, then they can support the larger projects. And I think a good example of that is the project that Kyle's group did at Delwas 3G. Simple right turn. I don't know if you had any feedback, Kyle, on how that's working since school has started, but I can imagine people are pretty happy because I don't see traffic backed up waiting to make a right turn, in the morning. Can come out, make the left and keep moving, and come out, make the right and keep moving. So, a small project like that provides a huge benefit to the citizens.
Big impact.
Yeah.
One small project on Route 17, just a little bit north of the intersection with 301, is the fact that during large thunderstorms, 17 is reduced to maybe one lane down the middle. And there have been times when it's underwater. And even if it's reduced in size because the water encroaching, then one lane of traffic has to stop while another lane goes by. That is of significance. What makes it more important and noteworthy is the fact that that section of Route 17 happens to be a hurricane evacuation route. Now, if it's made inoperable because, or partly inoperable because of a thunderstorm, God forbid we get a hurricane coming on, and what are you going to do about the traffic? That's a big problem. And the issue is the fact that there's no place for the water to go. We've been told that the neighboring properties will not cooperate, but that's why we have eminent domain. And I'm not an engineer. It could be they take a half acre, perhaps even an acre, to make large stormwater detention pond or combination of that and dry well. It's all sand and gravel underneath. But that is, that's a genuine issue, a genuine need. And it's not just the Port Wall area, but it's the traffic. Our friends, and neighbors down the northern neck, the peninsula coming up, if there is a hurricane.
So how do you, I'm just sitting here thinking about, it wouldn't screen into smart scale, it wouldn't be a secondary 6-year plan. We gotta have project funds. Cal can't do it with maintenance funds. Can't buy right away with maintenance funds. So to me, it has to be a revenue sharing project. It's just
Or
50-50 county.
what about,
county, state.
isn't there still some money out there for climate change issues?
Not with the new administrations.
Well, maybe some pockets of money that haven't been grabbed yet.
I guess my point is maybe it's something we consider when it's time for revenue sharing
Yeah.
application to discuss it. There every other year with smart scale, working on smart scale now. So a year from now, we consider that and whatever else for revenue sharing and see if we can get board support for 50% match as to whatever it might be. If you're just building a stormwater basin on the side of the road, you gotta buy the right of way and go through the process, and that takes money, but it shouldn't be a $5 million project.
It says 2 acres on either side of the road, 2 acres of dirt's worth maybe 10 grand an acre at the most, double it, 20 grand.
I mean, the water needs to get down to where, what I understand, where it used to go, which is through that, right? I don't, this is where someone who has a little bit more history on the area might know better than me, but in looking at what we think we've found is that at a certain point, that's where it went. And over time, farmland, this it's just built up. There used to be maybe some kind of a ditch or something that brought the water down where that driveway is, you know? And it doesn't go down there.
What if you
So
built,
I don't have
what if you built the
legal
road up,
access.
and no way to skin the cat? No right of way acquisition, we just build the road up the front.
It'd probably be more expensive.
Everything's got to go out with it, you know, like if I
No,
just,
US
if I put the
17
road up and I
priority.
got a big drop off on the side, right? Like I
Okay.
can't.
So it's a priority 1 corridor. US 17 is it not eligible for smart scale or?
Well,
just because
maybe it
of
would,
flooding?
it's a quarter of statewide significance. It's not gonna
Yeah.
score, it's not gonna score well.
Yeah, there's no.
There's no
congestion.
economic development, there's safety needs and congestion.
It's safety, it's a hurricane
Well,
evacuation.
in,
Yeah, it's
Stafford-
crash.
It's based on crash history.
In
You have
Stafford,
fatalities.
in Stafford County, the flooding of Brook going down to
Yeah.
That's,
was recently a grant. Was it a raised grant?
that was a raise.
Yeah.
That was a federal
So there-
grant. So to your point.
There are
you know,
federal grant
there's-
opportunities and raise doesn't require a match. It does. But anyway, okay. So it's probably more of
That
a
might be
raised grant.
another, might be less than 50%. Might be a good.
It's 20 max, yeah. I think it was near match if, certain case, I just was looking at it. So really, that's more of a raised grant. And having been a drainage engineer, you condemn to cut the ditch through the guys down the driveway. They don't, you just go ahead and get a drainage easement and get that water going on down the river.
But to what David was saying is accurate. It's like I can't spend my maintenance dollars.
Oh, right, you
purchasing
can't,
revenue.
but we can get a grant to, you know, through eminent domain and just cut the, I'm a gravity person. I don't want to do stormwater management, just cut and go.
Cut and go.
Yeah, get the water where God meant to go. So the farmers filled the ditch, it sounds to me like.
And we don't have any kind of an easement to go in.
Sure you don't, yeah.
Yeah,
I would love to fix that for what it's worth, because it's a problem.
Cool.
I've gotta have the money to go purchase that.
Yeah, I'm looking into raised grants for other projects, so I'll take a look.
It's another one of those things where it's like, to build it, very simple. To
Yeah,
fix it, very simple. But obtaining the right of way to legally do that, not so simple, right? Like that's the red tape that go on.
yeah,
Right?
I'll look into that for you. Got any other ones like that?
No.
I like
If
that.
if they would give us a right of entry to go in and do that work
Yeah,
and walk
okay.
away, we could do it like that. That's best and easiest.
Yeah, they won't do it. Yeah, look at that one.
So I think I just was looking at the criteria for the raise funds: project safety, environmental sustainability, good quality of life and community connectivity, support of economic competitiveness. And those are some of the things that making that improvement 17.
I wrote up a report on that about 4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago. See if I can find it.
Yeah, why don't you send that to me?
And I'll send it
Send it to Leon?
to Leon, and then if he chooses, he can send it to the whole committee.
That'd be great. That's what this committee's all about.
Does that sound good, Mr. Chair?
Absolutely. Very important project.
There's a cell with that one.
Well, that's one of the things that, I think the benefit of having a committee like this is also opportunity to explore these different funding options.
And local knowledge.
Yeah, I mean, the open hours one that then we have sitting around the table who have knowledge of funding. So, and a lot of times these funding options can be piled on top of each other and leverage off of one another to, benefit projects. So, it's important. It's one of those things that sometimes I wish I had somebody who was just sitting around doing transportation.
This is great.
And I think
It's
you
near and
heard,
dear to my heart.
I think one of the things for the committee and the county to think about is the fact that you heard Kyle say, VDOT is reducing, the amount of support that they are able to provide to jurisdictions. Well, Carolina's at a disadvantage in many respects when it comes to looking at funding opportunities. I mean, there are lots of grant opportunities at the federal level that happen, but you have to be in tune to those, and a lot of times you have to be prepared almost sometimes a year in advance. So when those windows open, your project is ready to go. You can't wait to hear about a grant opportunity and say, oh, I want to do that, because you don't have the time or the resources to pull together an application that can get in. And so, it's going to take staffing to put us in a position to be able to deal with the transportation issues that Carolina's facing. And so, I think we are laying the groundwork right now to get us there. I mean, I can just tell you where it's necessary, and it can play huge dividends.
And the FY 25 notice of funding opportunity for raise was a January deadline. They haven't put out the 26th one, but this is a really good one.
And raise is one of those that it comes so quickly. I mean, they put it out, and then you have a very short window to get your information in. It's tight. It is tight. I mean, I can tell you, I came from a jurisdiction that we had 5 transportation people, and there were a couple times where the grant would be announced, and the window was so short, even with those dedicated resources, couldn't pull together all of the application material needed to submit in time to meet the deadline with 5 dedicated people. So I'm just saying, and when you look at transportation plan in Caroline,
You're looking at
you
it.
look at me and all the Kyle staff, which things they're facing the same issues that we're facing in terms of person. People come and go, and so it's tough. So the counties, the more self-sufficient that we can be, and better off.
Mr. VDOT, I hadn't had a chance to call you, Mr. Hughes, about this, but I've been getting several phone calls about what can we do on Luther Glen Road. Trucks are once they pass Trader Joe's, quite naturally, there's no turnaround. Then they go in and they try to turn around and they tear up the signs at Caroline Pines and everywhere else. They really have to go all the way out So is there anything that VDOT could do to put a no through, no through trucks sign, or how does that work?
Yeah, so the no through trucks, someone gave this to us recently. The no through trucks, the problem with that is if they have if the place that they're trying to go is on that route, it doesn't restrict them from utilizing that. So what I would probably say, like that, I don't know if that would be the right avenue. What the right avenue might be is more wayfinding signs or something for them to ensure that they're going to the appropriate location. That was the request
Yes.
that I got. They're missing their turn.
Correct, that's what it is. And their GPS is on updating to keep them off of that road.
Which boggles my mind that they missed the turns because there's an abundance of signage that points out where the turns are.
Trader Joe's where the warehouse facility,
Yeah.
where was it Harris Teeter originally?
No, this is where the fire station is, the new fire station
Across the street.
across the street on the
So it's in the industrial.
it's on the road. But there are an abundance of signs. I mean, and left turn 300 yards, left turn 200. It blows my mind that they're missing that turn. I mean,
I get it. I just constantly get the calls and I'm like, okay, well, next time we have a meeting, I would at least bring it up to ask what could be done.
so
Is it lighted at night?
Oh, yeah,
they're lit.
it is like, it's lit right up there.
So they missed the turn and go down and jimmy around in Carolina Pines.
Well, they try to turn around wherever they can.
whatever it is.
And there's no turnaround,
That's right.
even for a Ford Escort, it's difficult to turn around down there, yeah.
I can't believe they missed that turn.
I'm just thinking, I don't know if any kind of restriction for a truck is gonna get us with.
What if you
Other
put
than the
a
ability to-
large sign up that said danger, narrow road?
Would that stop them? I mean,
Until we cut the trees on the adjoining property to the fire station, we had them pull into the fire station. Because they couldn't see it and they were just determined they were gonna make that right turn. They knew that's where the right turn was. They would turn and it'd be too late.
Is that GPS, Google or?
Google was taking them to the right road, but they were turning them too early.
Yeah.
And they were hitting poles on fire station lot. It was ridiculous. So they painted the curb red. And they've done a lot of things. I haven't heard it's been an issue since they painted the curb red. They did some stuff on the entrance. So they did get it. I don't know if I have.
Okay, I'll take that back.
Really great, thanks for that. I just, to me, it's you try and fix the problem, which is give them the ability to understand where their turn is, but I don't know how you do that. But if I have, we've already done it a lot of ways.
What?
Let me think. Reggie has.
Okay, yeah, Reggie and I were in the same meeting that night, yeah. And believe it or not, the person that's yelling the loudest owns a tractor trailer and drives it home every night down that road. Okay,
What did they suggest?
that's on.
The through truck?
Yeah, no through trucks.
Yeah, see that legally doesn't give, there's no bite to that if they're going to that road. Now, another problem is I imagine that a lot of the truckers that are coming to, it's not the same people
It's not.
all the time. So, sometimes, signage is good because it's exactly it's the same people every time, but like these are different people. So I don't know if that's gonna do anything. They're not looking at the signs now. Another sign's not gonna. If you were to find them, say the state police, the motor carrier unit comes out, oh, you're a through truck, and you find them like these are not the same people every day. So do you actually think that that's gonna fix the problem? I would say no.
Okay, I can take that back.
Trying to see if Google had an image of all these signs.
I had a question about the traffic light on 639 at the Wawa. So when that going east, going west on 639, you get to the light and you get into the lane to turn left, like if you want to go into the Wawa.
Dual lefts.
Yes. So was the inside left designed for U-turns? Because F-150 pickup trucks can't make that turn.
Yeah.
They have to back, they'll get out there and they'll have to go over the curbing or back up to try to make that turn.
Get you a GMC.
It's every 300 feet.
Every
on
300
that road.
feet, and you tell me.
But it
they-
says WCD, and I see Trader Joe's. Maybe
Well,
they don't know what
it's not,
WCD
it's
is.
not, it's not labeled, it's not known as Trader Joe's.
Well, Google has Trader Joe's manufacturing on top of the building. But the sign says WCD.
Maybe we need to get them to put Trader
Look
Joe's
Trader Joe's out
on
there.
those illegal signs.
Yeah.
So originally, we actually had a no U-turn sign up on that movement, if I remember correctly. We took that no U-turn down. So the idea was based off of future volumes, because the no U-turns or a U-turn movement in conjunction with the right turns coming out of the future development, which right now it's just a Wawa, right? But, at one point there was talk of a Walmart or something, right? So you're competing with those right turns at the same time because they both kind of go at the same movement. One has to yield to the other, and there's some negative effects on the traffic flow of the entire intersection. We originally restricted it, but we got a lot of complaints right out the gate about that restriction, just due to some of the businesses that wanted access. We ended up moving that with the caveat that when everything builds out on the south side there, not just the Wawa, but whatever else is going back there. When they have the traffic volumes making the rights out, we'll probably come back and restrict that again. But your question was it designed as such? I don't know off the top of my head. I would think that it was for a passenger vehicle. But obviously, when they do an auto turn movement, they look at just several different types of vehicles. There is a standard that they try and design it to, but I can't tell you
So once they
exactly.
build up there, everybody's got to go onto New Green Road and then come back out.
Yeah.
That road has a bulb for you to go past that and then make the U-turn.
Yeah, you can make a U-turn
Yeah,
further
the
on
next-
down.
The
That's
next
what
lot down
that little
is nice and wide.
bulb
Down there.
Yeah, the intent was to go past that light and take advantage of that big bulb. It's just past it. Yeah.
We ended up taking the restriction down just because there's nothing to compete with right now. It's planning for the future, and so there's no sense in having it restricted until.
But that bulb was the first one I've seen. That's a really nice design.
That's to allow for those larger vehicles.
Yeah.
Well, in about 9 months, you'll have some businesses in there.
What all is going in there?
Yeah, Dunkin' is about to break ground, and Blackstop Car Wash that's approved, you got auto parts stores.
Yeah.
So they're all use that there.
Yeah.
Hopefully there'll be some other,
That's a beautiful project too, by the way.
just one.
Really nice design. Ladysmith Road lining.
Counties maintain the landscape.
I
That's
know,
great.
I was gonna
That's great.
figure
I
out.
didn't realize that.
if I somebody to put some, to do that on.
To
The other thing that's come up, Kyle, is entrance signs into the county. it- There is I have an interest in having better signage coming into Caroline,
Yeah.
particularly down on the Hanover line.
Hanover signs are nice.
Yeah,
Not really.
I don't know if I want to spend the money that they're spending on signage. But, if nothing else, just we do have some larger two-post signs that, out there. I think they meet the standard.
Just break away.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Hanover ones have like that. They look like they're brick, but they're like shells of brick.
Oh,
They're
cool.
not actually brick.
They're floating for long.
Were they?
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw them, I was like, are they putting brick in the right of way down there? And then I asked the question, they're like, nah, it's just, it's brick.
So,
It's all breakable.
that's cool.
It's even cooler when you hit it.
Yeah. Mr. Chair, I didn't have anything else.
Okay.
For the responsibility.
Anything else with anyone?
Do you need any action from us regarding,
Need action
207
for the-
project?
Oh, well, if you guys, yes, please, if you want to make a recommendation that we ask for VDOT assistance on the Route 1207 small scale project. Certainly.
I'd like to propose a motion in that regard.
Second.
I didn't get,
A motion to, recommend for smart scale VDOT assistance, the Route 207, Route 1, former smart scale project.
okay, there's a motion on the floor for Route 1, Route 207 project to be placed into the smart scale.
Yes.
It's been by Ms. Gordon, and second by Mr. Street. All those in favor?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
So does that include the 207 loop also? That's just
No,
gonna
so
be the
that's
one-
gonna be with
Okay.
GWRC.
Okay,
But that was the whole project going all the way down the north side of 207 and the right turn.
okay.
Yes.
That was the same project we applied for.
Gotcha.
Not the watered down version.
Okay.
Not the watered down tap version.
The watered down $5 million.
About half of what the total.
Motion still on the floor. All those in favor?
question. Aye, how about aye? Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it.
Great.
Motion to adjourn?
There's a motion on the floor to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you all so
All right,
very
thank
much.
you.
We did. City Hall.